That night, a black car parked in front of the famous HU Hotel. A man in a light gray suit advises his boss not to go to the bar. After all, he had just arrived from a business trip, and some employees might feel embarrassed to have dinner with the boss. But the man, the owner of the hotel chain, ignores the secretary and gets out of the car while the other was still talking. The owner of the company innocently tells his secretary that he knew his employees would love to see him there. The blonde-haired man tries to warn him that it wasn't a good idea, but the CEO says he heard great things about the new intern and really wanted to meet her. The secretary says he prefers to go home to watch a show, even under the boss's protests, who hints that he should drop those shows and go on some dates. The CEO takes the opportunity to reveal something to his secretary. He becomes curious to hear what his boss has to say. The man reveals that he is tired of going on dates and has decided to get married. The secretary asks him if the chosen one is Sarah, to which he replies, yes. He wanted to marry the beautiful Sarah. The boss explains that although things are going well at the hotel, his father keeps hounding him. He thinks that if he gives the old man what he wants, he'll finally be at peace. He says he went out with several women, but none of them were like Sarah. He confesses that he had never met anyone like her before. His secretary remains silent as he listens to the boss say he tried to get close to her several times with no success. He looks at his watch, hopeful that she is still at the company dinner, since they chose a restaurant very close by. The secretary stays silent, taking all of that in. The blonde guy assumes that his boss is used to getting everything he wants with women. Even when he simply walked down the street, the girls sighed in love. However, the young man didn't know if he actually understood what love was. A few blocks ahead, there is a pub with its illuminated sign. Suddenly, everyone who was already very drunk celebrating becomes completely paralyzed, drooling into their drinks and dropping their food. The boss enters a bit hesitant, and by everyone's reactions, he realizes Barney, his secretary, was right. He could almost hear his voice in his head. He asks everyone to continue their celebration and not mind him. Trying to fix the situation, he tells everyone to order whatever they want to eat or drink. It's on him. And then immediately, everyone goes back to celebrating. The CEO lets out an awkward laugh after seeing how quickly everyone changed their attitude. Right after that, he spots someone in the crowd, a young woman with red hair. It's Sarah. His love interest was right there celebrating with her coworkers, drinking a nice pint of beer. The young woman gives her boss a friendly smile. He blushes slightly, but mentally feels grateful he came. Then the man notices that next to the young woman, there is an empty chair. It's the perfect opportunity. He approaches, asking permission to sit next to her. But something unexpected interrupts his words. Under the table, a bizarre creature that looks like a woman starts to slowly emerge, leaving the CEO paralyzed in shock. He lets out a huge scream. Sarah asks her coworker if she found her earring, and while the girls talk, the boss wonders where that woman had come from. The young woman looks at him with her big brown eyes, and he turns very red, wondering if he really screamed that loud. Sarah introduces the young woman to the CEO. Her name is Jenny, and she is the new intern at the company and our protagonist. Out of respect for the man, she bows to greet him. After many rounds of drinks, the CEO watches Jenny with an uninterested expression, and he remembers how the other employees had praised the young woman, saying that besides being pretty, she was very talented. Before he can start complimenting her mentally, she shoves a Korean hot dog into her mouth, completely lacking elegance. An employee gets excited with the microphone. On the girl's plate, he notices there are several chicken bones. She really had eaten all that. A very drunk guy approaches the young women, complaining that they had been sitting for too long and should join him for a drink. Without refusing, she explains that she will drink more soju instead of beer because beer makes her feel too full. After all, she needs to keep room for more food, right? The drunk guy starts laughing loudly, and everyone looks at him in judgment. While pouring soju for Jenny, he says that she has a beautiful face and should smile more. Approaching her in a creepy way, he says that she looked beautiful when she smiled at the hotel guests. He gives a very malicious smile and asks her to give him a smile, but the young woman looks at him with an indifferent stare, as if she felt disgust for that man. He actually feels bothered by that reaction, wondering what was wrong with that employee of his. The man hears Jenny surprisingly asking the drunk man if he wanted to see her smiling, and logically, she says that he should then go visit the hotel, leaving him speechless. Sarah watches in silence, and right there, on the other side, the boss lets out a laugh. Everyone notices how Jenny shut down that annoying guy, showing how intelligent and independent she was. He slams the glass bottle on the table, asking her if that was any way to talk to her superior. Trying to fix the situation, Sarah approaches saying that his glass looked empty, already bringing him a beer to cheer him up. She says that Jenny had just arrived and that she was sure Jenny really wanted to work with him. While the young woman pours more beer for the man, who is already beyond drunk, he tells Sarah that she is the best and that if Jenny wanted to be hired permanently, she should learn from her. Despite spilling a little beer on him, Sarah asks with a smile that he see that as the overflowing respect she feels for him. He, completely soaked in beer, says that she must respect him very much then. Everyone there praises Sarah a lot and her competence as an employee. He looks at her, slightly blushing, very interested in the young red-haired woman. At the exit of the bar, everyone says goodbye. The CEO wonders what he was doing there. He approaches Sarah, trying to be romantic, and noticing she had had a few beers, he offers to take her home. But the young woman politely refuses, saying she had already called a taxi. The man feels hurt, wondering what he could have done for her not to find him attractive. After all, his name was printed across all the top business magazines in Korea. Stanley Kwan, an influential, rich man, very desired by women. He thought of himself as absolutely perfect. Yeah, right. He gets frustrated, mentally throwing a tantrum, wondering why Sarah did not return his love. Around the other men, he hides his pain well, pretending everything was fine. The other employees offered to call him a taxi or even give him a ride home. While Stanley says goodbye to everyone, Jenny walks near him, moving in a strange way. Completely drunk, she looks at him. Just the weird look from that woman is enough to scare him. He wonders how many times that crazy woman will still scare him that night. You can tell she is very drunk because she is walking completely unbalanced. Stanley wonders where she might be going. Did she live nearby? He wonders why she is heading to the hotel basement. And why was he still following her? Our protagonist was so drunk she didn't even notice she was being followed by the hotel CEO. He keeps following her, wondering where she might live. He himself lived in the penthouse. Stanley watches Jenny making her way through the parking lot, walking totally dizzy because of the alcohol. And now she was in the basement? At this point, he was far too curious to leave her alone. What was a young woman like her doing there? She turns to him, her face red because of the alcohol. And he gets scared again, but manages to hide behind a wall. Frightened, he wonders why he would be hiding in his own hotel. Still wondering why all that was happening, he approaches the storage basement door. He holds the doorknob, noticing that no one from the hotel had used that room for a long time. He looks through the crack of the door, wondering why she went in there. And then he comes across Jenny. Embarrassed, the young woman was beginning to change her clothes. Stanley, as the hotel CEO, was a smart, rich, and very attractive man. He drew the attention of women wherever he went. Meanwhile, the girl was watching him while other women whispered about him. At the same time, a young woman caught the CEO's attention. He gives a friendly smile to the girl, and she returns it with a delicate smile. On the other side of the elevator, Jenny watches that uninterested. She takes advantage of the opened door so she can get away from all that commotion. Besides everything, Stanley was a huge playboy. Back to the present, in the hotel basement, he is still stunned by the recent events. And what is that injury on his face? Jenny and Stanley stare at each other in silence after the compromising moment. She asked if his face was okay. Very annoyed, he asked what she was going to do about that scratch. Moments earlier, because of the scare, Jenny had slapped Stanley's face. However, she didn't notice there was a hidden button that had caused such damage. Trying to help him, she tries to touch his face, saying she would like to help him by offering an ointment. But Stanley was a very arrogant man, and he slaps the young woman's hand away, pushing her aside, and then directly asks her what she was doing there and what all those things were. She confesses they are personal things she used to carry with her. He asks her if she brings all that when she goes to work. He points to a pair of panties with a teddy bear on them. Immediately, she runs to hide the item while he coughs in embarrassment. While she is picking up the panties, he asks her if she had been living in his hotel for free, without paying any rent. She turns around and says she could pay $30. Stanley doesn't understand anything. Jenny tries to negotiate, claiming she could pay $30 to live there in the basement. He asks if she would pay per day, but she answers it would be the monthly payment. Impatient, our protagonist explains that there was no air conditioning, no bathroom, no windows. Besides the smell of mold, so $30 per month was a more than reasonable price. Despite the girl's arguments, he tells her to leave because her money didn't interest him, and if something happened to her down there, he would be responsible. It wasn't worth taking such a risk for $30. Insisting on negotiating her stay in the basement, Jenny says she could organize the entire storage area and also work night shifts. She explains that she needs to stay for at least 3 months, and that she didn't want to bother him with a long story. Still trying to keep her home, even temporarily, she says she has a skillful body. The young woman's words catch the CEO by surprise. He blushes a lot and is shocked imagining what she might be suggesting. He gets irritated, asking if she thinks he is some kind of pervert. He didn't want to hear anything else. Jenny simply clarifies that she is a strong woman, she could carry heavy boxes or even perform manual labor. Annoyed with the whole situation, Stanley insists that she leave immediately. Suddenly, a phone starts ringing, distracting Jenny. She answers the phone, revealing it is Sarah calling, and tells her friend that she had her scarf and would return it during work the following week. As she hangs up the phone, she asks Stanley what he was talking about again. Scaring Jenny, the man approaches her in a strange way, asking if she and Sarah were friends. She tells him they went to the same school, and he becomes very interested in knowing if they had many classes together. Stanley, wanting to know